Welcome to the RJLT Economics. In this podcast, I want to discuss the situation of the collapse of FTX. Before I do that, I want to just say very quickly that I have landed in China, in Beijing, on the 17th of November, and I'm on currently the second day of my 8-day quarantine stay in this hotel. This is a quarantine hotel close by the airport. Currently, I have very poor internet access. I do have. I'm not. I don't know if it is legal to say this, but I do have a VPN. I didn't create it myself. Okay, so just to say that. But it is very slow, and the Wi-Fi here is horrible. I can hardly even visit Chinese sites, let alone the international websites. And I have noticed today that there is a sweeping new ban of tech themed websites. Basically, if you are talking about CPU benchmarks, if you're talking about GPU, laptops, televisions, things like that, it seems like there is none of them is accessible today without a VPN. I don't understand exactly what the motivation is behind that, but if I'm to give a completely unfounded guess, and this is complete not completely based only on my intuition, it is that we're now coming towards the end of the year, and people who are tasked with banning websites need to show that they have a lot of achievements that they have made in this year. And if they only keep ban, let's say, all the Western media, etc., the social media, search engines, those websites, they're not expanding their efforts, and therefore they cannot demand more budget for next year. So in order to do that, they need to ban more websites to show that they have more things to do, and they are making more progress. As a result, they would need to have a higher budget next year. I think that's probably could be what is playing into it, right? And this is why I always think, it is my view, that it is horrible to have bureaucracy without some overarching institution that controls, that exerts as a control of the ever expansion of bureaucracy. Because when a government initiative of government program gets instituted, it only grows and grows. It does not stop itself automatically. It does not want to limit itself automatically. So even though in the beginning it has a very well-defined goal of achieving certain strategic objectives, if there is no institutional control over this government program, then this program will grow on its it will grow on its own sense. I think that there is this this idea of organizational sense making. So basically, it grows on its own. It develops its own logic, and even people who originally designed this program are not really don't really know what is actually happening, why it has gone to this stage, and where it is going. And people who are inside the program, they are not aware of what this is going, where this is going, why it has grown so far, and why it's continued to grow. And this is basically an organization, an institution that gradually but surely forms its own logic, and this logic becomes the dominating factor that drives it forward. And yeah, this is the same. Doesn't matter which country it is, right? But nevertheless, let's talk about FTX. I want to develop today's podcast in 3 steps. By the way, I'm recording on my mobile phone today because I noticed that there are some problem with the recording software on Linux with my laptop. Of course, that's it basically picks up a lot of background noise. I mean, it does not pick up background noise. It generates a lot of background noise. Noise is not coming from the microphone pickup, but somewhere, how to say, it's just the signal to noise ratio is very low. Okay, that's enough digressions. Let's delve into the FTS situation. I want to make 3 points today. Let me just go over them one by one. I listed on my laptop, so I'm just going to read each point and then I'm going to discuss them. The first point I want to make is that FTX is just another story in due time for a crash. If you look at the history of cryptocurrencies, in 2014, in 2018, and 2012, there are similar events that unfolded essentially in the same manner. There is a tremendous growth in Bitcoin and a basket of cryptocurrencies. Valuations went to the stratosphere. Growth, profits have been tremendous, and people were joining in. They were betting their house, their wives, their children, and their kidneys, all on some numbers, right? And then there was the crash, the initial crash, and then there was the following crash, gradual loss of confidence, and then there is a liquidity event, and FTX appears to be this year's liquidity event. Now, I'm not saying that this is really the big one. It could be Tether, right? If Tether falls, that will be it. But FTX could also just be it if Tether stays, right? So what you see is that every 4 years, Bitcoin was invented about 12 years ago. Every 4 years, there is an event such as this, and I have little doubt that Bitcoin will fall under $10,000. There will be more liquidity problems. A lot of funds that have bet on cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin will fail, and there will be a lot of write-offs. A lot of people will be exposed as swimming naked, and there will be blood on the street. That's the first point I want to make. Let's just be very clear about the situation, right? But yes, these people are crooks, and we know that after they filed for bankruptcy, this guy still continue to withdraw cash and cryptocurrencies to his own account, from the customer funds to his own account. I think this guy better have some. I don't think, if I'm that guy, and I'm not, certainly I don't have any relation to FTX or any cryptocurrency exchanges. I do not hold any cryptocurrency. I do not hold any funds, crypto or otherwise, on any cryptocurrency exchange, and I have never registered at FTX, right? Let's just make it very clear. So I have no intention of threatening or making any horrible wishes on the guy. But I just wish him good luck. I wish that instead of withdrawing money to his own bank account at this point, I wish that he would take better care of his own personal security, because one of those 100,000 or perhaps millions of investors who he has basically scammed, they live these, you can imagine the millions of users. They could be everywhere around the world, and some people have bet their house, their wives, their children, their kidneys on FTX, and some of those people are not going to be as calm as I am when discussing FTX, and so they better have they better wish that they have uh, the time to spend the money that they scammed. That's the first point I want to make. The second point I want to make is that I don't think this is the end of cryptocurrencies, but I think it'll be challenged by regulators and central bankers and governments. And it'll be a very difficult task to regain the trust of cryptocurrency enthusiasts. We already see that after 2018, ICO became just very difficult. The people no longer, I think it has become more difficult for new cryptocurrencies to find their position, and established cryptocurrencies finding also quite a bit difficult, much more difficult environment to operate in. They face the pressures from regulators to be fully to be increasingly compliant to a lot of the regulations in terms of most of the times I think it's how to say the commodities, I would say commodities regulations, but sometimes it's also securities regulations, right? In the financial markets, and different regulators can have different demands, and there are jurisdictions such as the one that I am in now, who has completely banned any trading and ownership of cryptocurrencies. Now, it is my understanding that there are still a lot of Chinese residents and citizens who own cryptocurrencies, and I have no opinion on that. But I do advise them, of course, to follow the law, and but nevertheless, if it is their wish to own, it is not my it is not my job to judge them. But anyway, I'm just saying that it's going to be a very difficult time for cryptocurrencies. I do think that some of those encrypted, untraceable, otherwise known as privacy, I think cryptos, such as Monero, I think Zcash, this type of cryptocurrencies, I think they will be increasingly used. I think, this is, what is the word for that? This is, what is that prophecy thing? Self-fulfilling prophecy. Because the regulators said that if you want to use privacy cryptos, then you must be dealing for crimes. So I'm going to ban all legitimate use of privacy cryptos. As a result, the people who will be using privacy cryptos will be the criminals. I think that's for those cryptocurrencies, I think that's actually eventually what's going to end up. And then there's going to be a lot of cryptocurrencies run by governments. I think supposedly China already has one. I don't really know. I'm not really familiar with this. But supposedly there is one. And I'm pretty sure that the BRICS countries are trying to introduce their own reserve currency based on blockchain. And there's another one. And we know that the Fat Coin and a lot of others, that they are trying to introduce their own cryptocurrencies. that I think is going to be the trend, and eventually credit cards and cash will be replaced by those cryptocurrencies. This is also why I kind of think some of the conspiracy, quote unquote, conspiracy theorists who said that Bitcoin was an NSA project could just be right, right? And but that's just a different discussion. It's complete digression. And then there's going to be in the middle, I think, a few well-known big cryptocurrencies. I'm thinking Bitcoin, Ethereum, maybe a few more. I don't know which ones. Right. This is being perfectly honest because the other ones, I don't know, especially the ones that are based on Ethereum or Ethereum side chains. I don't know exactly their raison d'être, let's just say. So I think there's going to be some cryptocurrencies, but not necessarily going to be as it has been. And we could lament this fact, right? And I think just as today we are witnessing the end of the internet, and we can thank a lot of players for this. We can thank where I am now. We can thank the United States. We can thank many other players who have made it difficult to access the internet. There's censorship, there's all kind of things, right? And basically, I think at some point the internet was a beautiful thing. It was completely free exchange of information. That was good. Now, there was some information that were not good, right? There was some bad information on there, harmful information. There is a philosophical debate that people can have on what is the best way to deal with it. But apparently, what has been chosen for the internet is that the internet will not be, and well, that's that. And for cryptocurrencies, there was a point when the idea of cryptocurrency is that you don't need a bank, you don't need to have trust in the partner that you're trading, that you're making transactions with, but rather it is by the code, by mathematically, by mathematics, that the security of your transactions can be guaranteed. And there were many mini-me cryptocurrencies that followed Bitcoin, right? And at some point there was this idea that eventually we wouldn't need VCs, wouldn't need institutional funds, we wouldn't even need central banks, because there will be the hope was that the community, the industry, would self-regulate, in the sense that bad projects will eventually die out. Scammers will be, as people become more educated, they will identify scammers very quickly, and scammers will basically die out, and eventually only the few very sound, very very useful, very efficient, powerful, very low cost options would survive, and they would really be a empowering tool. It did not evolve like that, but rather the scammers took over, did most of the task, and the government went in to intervene, because, well, I don't know whether it's because there were scammers, or the scammers just gave them a reasoning. That's a justification. That's the second point I want to make. And the third point, since I'm also working, I'm a contributor, quote-unquote head of growth at one Web3 project. I want to talk also a little bit about Web3 and smart contracts. See, I think Web3 and smart contracts can be quite different, and they are still viable, even in an environment without all these traditional cryptocurrencies. Because Web3 and smart contracts can be built on, well, a lot of people who are freedom-minded may not like it, but it is a fact that Web3 and smart contracts can be built on central bank digital currencies. Essentially, I think this will be a direction. Essentially, this will be where most, I think, of Web3 activities will take place. And essentially, the difference, if you're not aware, between Web 2.0 and the original interwebs is that in Web 2.0, you are the consumer of information, also the creator of information. So think of Facebook. Now, Facebook is a shit company, but it is one company that most, how to say, it is the symbol. It most symbolizes the Web 2 movement. And then, of course, there are a lot of others, all of which have become unavailable in the country where I'm in now. So that's basically, if you want, just a couple of years ago, if you want to know which platform is Web 2.0, you just need to see whether it is available. But now it seems like a lot of tech blogs are also unavailable. I don't understand why. And Web 3 is like Web 2, but based on the blockchain with ownership properly attributed. So when you are the creator of, you are not only the consumer of information and creator of information, but you are also the owner of information, so that you are not fully at the mercy of the owner of the platform, such as, let's say, Twitter, right? Twitter can ban people, but on a Web3, in a Web3 environment, you can't just ban people because their speech, their ideas are on the blockchain, and you can't modify the blockchain however you like it or not like it, right? So if you want to imprison those people for saying what they have said, that is fine, but you can't delete them, and that is Web3. And I think I've said enough. I have a very, very slow website internet connection. I hope I will try to compress this as much as possible, and I hope that I will be able to upload it today. But if not, maybe I'll try tomorrow. Thank you very much for listening. Do remember to follow me on Twitter, Telegram, and Chain Critics. By the way, Chain Critics is the one that I created myself. That one so far is still available here natively in China. I hope. But anyways, Telegram and Twitter not really without VPN. Anyway, thanks. Have a great day.